What's up, everybody? It's Dominec369 for Occultism Unleashed, and today we are jumping into Mercury Retrograde. As you can see, Mercury went retrograde at about 2 p.m. at 9 degrees Capricorn. This was approaching a square to the United States Saturn in the 10th house, which governs Joe Biden, and they filed the impeachment papers on him today. They filed the impeachment papers on Jim Crow Joe today. And this is the beginning of what I warned you about. They improved the impeachment inquiry. I told you this was coming. The stress from it is going to adversely affect the president's health. Also, Mercury is the ruler of the United States 7th house. The 7th house rules war. It rules our allies. You are going to see the United States backtracking on their allies, leaving people behind, Ukraine and Israel. Look forward to that. It's going to cause some static because Israel don't got no problem doing another 9/11 over here. That's the fact. As it retrogrades, first it's going to go into an opposition. In the next 3 days, it's going to go into an opposition with Jupiter, the ruler of the United States first house. This is gonna tear up that little reputation a little bit, Jack. It's gonna tank that reputation. You dig what I'm saying? It's gonna tank that reputation. Even though Jupiter right here is retrograding into a nice sextile with Jupiter. A sextile, that's this. It looks like a star made of 6 lines. That means the stars can guide you to the right place, but you have to take the initiative to do it, to do the work. So Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter rules the United States first house. That's giving the United States an opportunity to repair their reputation. It's in the 5th house of how you market and promote yourself to the world. And you see all the human rights violations that the United States has, co-signed the Zionist occupation of Palestine to do. It's coming back to haunt them. Now, Mercury is retrograding back into a conjunction with the moon in the 1st house. That was a new moon. The new moon is the ruler of the 8th house. Debt. The 8th house governs mortgage loans, credit card debt, the nation's debt to the Federal Reserve. And we know that the Zionists control the United States Federal Reserve. We know who controls the Federal Reserve. Ain't no secret about that. So look forward to some money issues disrupting the current progress in the market. But not too soon, because we have Venus up here in the United States 11th house of networking. It's making a nice trine to the sun. Looks like the United States is going to find better, positioning for finances in other people's, other nations for in the international community outside of the Israelis. But again, Venus rules the 6th house to the military. Interesting things about to happen. That's all I can say. Interesting. As Mercury continues to retrograde backwards in the United States first house, you're going to see a lot of adverse action coming from their allies and people reviewing the reputation of the United States and coming to terms with their hypocrisy, and they're going to have to pay for it. You have to pay for it, man. My hope is that, it doesn't come at the expense of the American people. Life. Excuse me. Is you see all the protests about the genocide in Palestine. These people ain't gonna, people, man. People ain't playing. And that's what it is. That's what it is. You see the sun right here in the first house. The same day it went Mercury retrograde, the same day they filed the impeachment inquiry on Jim Crow Joe Biden. The sun, ruling the ninth house of legal issues, the sun made a sextile to the eclipse point. That's where that Mayat eclipse happened. You're about to see a lot of legal stuff unfold in the United States against Democrats, Republicans, and corporations. It's going to be a little baby civil war in the courts, and I'll talk about other stuff in January when we get to it. But no, it's coming. Again, you got the Mars just crossed over the first house cusp, making that sextile. Again, Mars rules the lower class, and it rules the political party that is not in power. You see that? Making that sextile to the office of the president. Yes, indeed. The sun, which rules legal issues, making a square to Neptune in the ninth house. Ninth house, Neptune rules the third house in the intercepted sign of Pisces in the third house of the United States. Excuse me. This means you're going to see a lot of legal action against celebrities and actors coming up too. A lot of legal action, man. A lot of legal action. It's like you're gonna think that the courthouse is the new Uzi in the United States, man. Like that's the new nuke. You're gonna be filing a bunch of lawsuits and legal proceedings against each other, and it's gonna trickle out into something else. It's gonna trickle out into something else, man. But we'll talk about that later on in the month. We got a couple other planets going direct over the next couple weeks, and we'll get into them. I promise you, I won't leave you guys behind on the astrological updates. I promise you that. Mercury is going to make retrograde back into an opposition. First, an opposition with Jupiter, then an opposition with Venus. Venus rules the office of the president. This is in about 6 days. 6 days is going to make that opposition to Venus almost. 5 or 6 days. So I can tell you in the next 4 to 6 days, it's going to be some more legal stuff going on. More legal battles for the president in the White House. I guarantee it. There may be also legal action taken against the United States military for war crimes and things like that in the international courts. Mercury rules the United States, 7th house of allies. And you're going to see a reversal from the allies, because not just the United States turning its back on their allies, but U.S. allies turning their back on the United States. Because we're in the sign of Capricorn. The United States has showed that their values are calloused, draconian, dictatorial, things that reflect the negative attributes of Capricorn. And now their allies, represented by Mercury retrograde, are backtracking against them. Their reputation, their sense of lawlessness, respect for the law. I mean, it's going to come back to bite them in the butt. And then when Mercury goes back direct on the 1st of January, it's going to have to come back into these oppositions again. Opposition to Venus, opposition to Jupiter, opposition to the sun, opposition to its own self in the 8th house. And this is when you're going to see some ugliness. But again, we'll jump back in January. Mercury retrograde in your first house. It's time to rethink how you present yourself to the world. You know, what houses does Mercury rule in your chart? Mercury is the natural ruler of Gemini and Virgo. So wherever Gemini and Virgo fall in your natal chart, Mercury retrograde is going to affect the things that are ruled by those houses. Those of you guys that are fairly new to astrology, there's 12 houses in your natal chart, Each house has a sign on it. Unless the sign is intercept, it'll have two repeating signs, like the United States has Scorpio on the 11th and 12th house, Taurus on the 5th and 6th house. That's because Virgo and Pisces are intercepted. So the signs that are ruled by Mercury in your chart are Gemini and Virgo. Look on your chart and see where this line is. These lines are the house cusps. And the line where Gemini and Virgo are at are the houses that are going to be affected by this Mercury retrograde in your chart. In your first house, it's going to deal with how you present yourself, how the world views you, your physical health. Mercury retrograde asking you to take more discipline to take care of your body, how you present yourself. If you got, Mercury in your first house, and it's going to tell you where you're presenting yourself at. The United States is presenting itself overseas. The 9th house rules legal, overseas, faith, beliefs, moral authority. And the 7th house rules allies, wars, trusted advisors, the legislature. These things are going to be affected. So it would be wise to look into your natal chart and see, the aspects that are being made, not only where Mercury retrograde falls in your chart, but the houses that Mercury rules. This is going to give you keen insight into how to use the power of Mercury retrograde to transform and power up your mind and mentality in these areas. If you want a professional reading, make sure you go to www.redclawconjure.com. Peace.